All right, welcome to the Nut Allergy Podcast. My name is Mick. I am creating Mick's Got No Nuts, a company dedicated to making a totally peanut-free and tree nut-free protein bar made in a dedicated peanut-free and tree nut-free facility. On this show, I ask people in our nut allergy community their stories, their experiences, their perspectives, handling and dealing with their nut allergy or someone close in their lives with a nut allergy. So today, I have the honor of being joined by Jackie. Jackie, thank you so much for joining me today. Do you mind introducing yourself a little bit?
Hi, thanks for having me. My name's Jackie, like you said. I've been married for almost 11 years to my husband, and we have a 4-year-old daughter. And we live in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada.
You live in Calgary. Okay, my girlfriend's family is in Calgary, so I bet you guys are pretty close. Now, you have a 4-year-old daughter. I assume your daughter is the one with the nut allergy.
She is. I also am.
You also have a nut allergy. Okay, little genetic passing down through the genes. That's funny. Okay, so I've never had this before, talking to someone with both a nut allergy and a child who has a nut allergy. This is new to me. So let's talk about you first, if you don't mind. How did you discover you had a nut allergy?
Well, as long as I can remember, I have a nut allergy. As far as I know, I think I was maybe 2 or 3, and my grandma I would feed squirrels together, and of course with a peanut in your hand, and of course it reacted.
Yeah.
So that then prompted my parents to take me to the allergist and get further testing and confirmed what we thought.
Mm-hmm. Was there any experience with allergies in your family when you were a young girl and got discovered or diagnosed with an allergy?
Nothing like this with nuts, nothing anaphylactic, nothing like that. There was gluten intolerances and dairy intolerances, but nothing like this.
And when you first discovered you had the allergy, was it actually when you were giving nuts to squirrels? Like that specific moment?
I'm sorry, you cut out there.
Oh, sorry. When you found out that you had an allergy, were you literally feeding squirrels nuts and then all of a sudden you started having a reaction? Or is there something a little bit more specific that happened when they rushed you to an allergist or the doctor or whatever?
I think, well, that was the first interaction I had with peanuts, was just a skin reaction. And then I think I'd eaten a candy too when I was maybe 3 or something that had peanut butter and instantly reacted too. So all those things put together definitely pointed the way of an allergy.
Yeah, but you said 2 or 3 years old. So truthfully, as long as you can remember, you've been dealing with so are you tree nut allergy, and which ones are you allergic to?
And both, all of the above.
Everyone under the sun, every tree nut? Because sometimes you hear there are exceptions, like everyone's allergic to tree nuts, but maybe not like an almond, for example. But you're the whole shebang. You got everything.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly.
All right, lucky you, right? So how was it growing up with a nut allergy? You know, especially when you're in school, or were the schools accommodating? Were the kids friendly? How was it kind of growing up as a young girl?
Back then it was hard because nut allergies weren't as prevalent. So if you did have an allergy, you had to sit at a different table at lunch, which of course doesn't make you feel good as a kid.
A little ostracization, yeah.
I think nowadays, it's different in schools. They're more accommodating and a lot of the schools are nut-free, which makes it a lot safer. But back when I was in school, you could bring a peanut butter sandwich to school.
Yes. And did you have any challenges with other kids, perhaps? Maybe, I don't want to say bullying, but were you kind of picked on for having a nut allergy, for having to go to that table on the side of the lunchroom?
Yeah, you would definitely hear the whispers, and sometimes kids would joke that, oh, let's put peanut butter on her desk. And kids think that's funny.
Yeah, I'm laughing not because it's appropriate, but like kids, it doesn't surprise me that sort of thing. That sort of thing happens. Now, when you were growing up, did you have any reactions post when you first found out you had an allergy?
Nothing major. I've only ever had one anaphylactic in my whole life. Knock on wood that I never have another.
Knock on wood. That's right. If you don't mind sharing, what was the incident?
Well, it was actually very unfortunate because I was away traveling all the way in Australia.
Oh, no kidding.
And I had ordered a dish that I had made sure was cleared, no nuts, everything like that. But I guess the message did not get passed on to the kitchen.
Oh, no.
And then I was served a dish that had pine nuts in it. It was a pesto that was not listed on the menu or anything like that. And I immediately started feeling funny. But being that I never had a reaction before, I didn't think much of it. I thought, oh, it's been a long day. I've been traveling, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But as the time progressed, I could tell things were not getting good. I took Benadryl. I don't know why I did that, but I did. I was very much in denial, but I ended up in the hospital.
Did you?
Yeah. Full reaction.
And you were you by yourself in Australia on this trip?
I was with my good girlfriend, thankfully, who's actually a doctor. But also,
there you go.
We were both in denial because it had never happened.
Yeah. And so you went to the hospital, and tell me, now I've never been in anaphylaxis, knock on wood, but you can share as much as you or a little as you'd like, but what was that experience like for you?
Like the symptoms kind of thing, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I instantly felt it in my mouth. My mouth felt really kind of tingly and whatnot, and I felt very spacey in my head, very lightheaded, which I obviously attributed to just the travel and everything like that. And then I remember feeling quite queasy.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got back to my hotel, my whole face started swelling and I was itchy everywhere and hives started all over my body.
Okay.
And then by the time I got to the hospital, my whole face was just completely swollen.
Really? So how long was it between when you had that dish versus against how when you were in the hospital? How long was that period? An hour, 2 hours?
Probably an hour, hour and a half, I'd say.
Yeah. And that's super interesting because I feel like when people with no nut allergies, they think of that sort of thing. They think it happens kind of right away, but it is very true that symptoms can progress over a while and you just don't think about it. And all of a sudden you're an hour and a half later and it's just, you said your face is all swollen, your highs everywhere. So it really is, it could be a slow burn. But I'm glad, obviously it all worked out. I'm looking at you, so you made it through. And that's been the only reaction you've ever had, a major reaction, knock on wood. Okay, good. So, yeah, exactly. So now we talk about your daughter. When did your daughter discover she had a nut allergy?
She was diagnosed probably at around 1.
Okay.
She'd never actually had ingested nuts or peanuts because I'm obviously not able to touch them and give them to her.
Yes.
So we had some allergy testing and she did show positive even on that, which was kind of puzzling because they always told me she would have to have ingested it prior to show a reaction.
Oh, interesting.
So
yeah,
it seems to be a real mixed bag of what you get with allergists.
Yes. And now when you got your daughter tested, was that just kind of a precautionary allergy test just to see if, what she's allergic to, or was there a reason that you went, maybe some sort of incident that happened?
Well, she did show positive for some other allergens that I had given to her, like eggs and that type of thing. So that's why we originally went. And then since we were there, we had the full workup done. Okay.
So your daughter is allergic to eggs as well?
Mm-hmm.
Eggs, peanut, and you're also peanuts, all the peanuts and tree nuts?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. And are you allergic to egg as well?
I was when I was younger, but I outgrew that.
Oh, did you?
But I also don't think I was as severe as she is from just the numbers on her tests.
Oh, really? Okay. And you said your daughter's 4, correct? So she got diagnosed with a peanut and tree nut allergy when she was 1. Has she had any issue between then and now?
No, she hasn't. Thankfully.
No. Okay. And again, knock on wood. Can you talk to me a little bit about what's in the house medication-wise? What do you make sure you always have stocked?
We always carry, anytime we go out, it's always 2 EpiPens, 2 for me, 2 for her. In the house, we also have additional EpiPens. And I do keep Benadryl, but I don't know. I've heard mixed things about whether or not it's current or not.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I mean, I was kind of the same boat where when I was growing up, I would carry Benadryl as well. And now I'm hearing it's more of a mask, a symptom masker than any sort of epinephrine or any sort of medication like that. I've been hearing, say, like Zyrtec, for example, might be a better option, but I've definitely heard the skepticism on Benadryl as well. But of course, EpiPens, like you said. Anything else that you might carry around?
Allergy-wise, that would be all.
That would be it. Gotcha. Now, how do you, because obviously your daughter, 1 year old, I assume at the time is not totally verbal, right? I mean, maybe your daughter's a prodigy. Maybe she's writing her master's thesis already. But how do you instill that sort of precaution in your daughter at such a young age to be aware of her nut allergy?
In the beginning, we basically told her that you have to ask mom and dad before you eat anything. And we always bring her food that we know is safe wherever we go to. And I think it does help the fact that mom can't eat certain foods too, so she
Yes.
doesn't feel left out from stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that would be very tough if like you didn't have the allergy and your daughter did, and then you had to kind of skirt around. You had to adjust your diet, which is not uncommon, of course, where you have to change your diet. But it sounds like because you already have experienced this, not much maybe in the house is going to change anyway, right? I assume your husband was already very accommodating for you and your allergy, unless your husband's maybe sneaking off at night eating peanut butter in the corner. I don't know, but I'm going to assume he's not going to do that. So doesn't sound like much really changed, which is probably a good thing, right? So your daughter probably feels very comfortable in the house with most everything that you can eat. Is that a fair statement, I would say?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, is your daughter old enough where maybe say she like went to a friend's house and her friend, little toddler friend offered her a little snack. Is your daughter at the age where maybe like she'd second guess a food like that, or not quite yet?
I think she's pretty good. I'd like to think she is, but
Yeah.
again, you just don't know at that age, because if something looks tempting, they just might.
Yeah.
So we definitely make it known to the parents that wherever she is too, and that kind of thing.
Yes. And I just talked to someone on this show as well, where they had a young son around 4 or 5, I think it was, and or at the time, and the mom wasn't quite sure if her son really understood his allergy, until one day he overheard his son lecturing someone else about his allergy, and she's like, "What? You knew this the whole time?" So I bet you your daughter is pretty good as well, just making sure she has that eagle eye, and you create like a sense of awareness, extra awareness, a sixth sense with the world around you, right? Now, the foods that you have in your house, obviously you're not going to have blatant peanuts or tree nuts or anything like that. But what about foods that have a may contain label? How do you tackle that?
They don't come in my house.
At all? Nothing?
No, we just avoid it. I always think to myself, is it worth a reaction to have that bite of whatever it may be?
100%.
And for the most part, we get by okay, because we can always find an alternative generally for something.
Mm-hmm. And 100%, right? And I like to ask this question in this way. So if I was not allergic to nuts, a nice on-the-go snack for me would be trail mix. Looks good, right? I think it looks pretty tasty, but obviously we can't have that. So what would be and then maybe your daughter's kind of go-to snack? Just need a quick burst of energy. What would you give her?
I would probably say nuts as well, just because they're easy and they're high in protein and they're easy to grab.
What do you give her now?
A lot of cheese and yogurt, that type of thing for protein.
Yeah.
Kind of easier things.
Yeah. I assume maybe fruit as well. Eggs. Yeah. I would have said eggs, but of course your daughter has an egg allergy as well, right? So that's a bit tough. How do you handle eating out at a restaurant?
I generally stick to restaurants that I know are safe, that I've eaten at in the past. And I generally avoid restaurants that would be higher in the peanut department, like Thai restaurants or that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I always tell the server when I order to make sure that it's safe for me.
Yes. And how do you know a restaurant is allergy safe beforehand?
I guess I've just trial and error, I guess. Mm-hmm. For the most part, I usually stick to restaurants that are pretty generic with their menus and don't seem to have a lot of nut items on them, just for less contamination.
Yes. And do you use any sort of support groups online for reference on snacks and restaurants or anything like that?
I'm a part of a few of them, but I haven't really tried any that I've seen here specifically.
Okay. Gotcha. Because I know something that I didn't even know when I started out my little venture here is how many people are in this little nut allergy community. And so, I've seen a few, and it's super unique to me because people, it's a lot of moms, objectively, right, looking out for their child. It's very cool to see the collaboration of, hey, I saw this snack at the store. Is this safe? And then you have a bunch of comments saying yes, no, whatever. Or same thing with restaurants. Hey, we're going to X location. What restaurants are in the area that would be safe? And I think that sense of community is really cool. So I don't know how much you utilize the support groups at all. I'm sure, like you said, you kind of grew up with the nut allergy, so maybe you're already more aware than maybe some other people in these groups are. But I'm just curious, have you ever used those groups at all when traveling?
I have. I haven't specifically gone any of the places that they've recommended just because I haven't had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting. But I do find it hard because a lot of them seem to be US based.
Yeah.
Not so much in Canada.
Fair enough. Now, you mentioned earlier that the perception of nut allergies has changed, and I think everyone can agree on that. When do you think that changed?
Maybe about 10 years ago or so. I think it started being more widely accepted, or more people just knew about them too, I think.
And what do you think changed exactly? We say awareness, but what do you think awareness means? What did you notice?
Well, I think a big thing was the schools changing to no peanut butter and that type of thing. I think that made a big difference with kids.
Yeah. And when is your daughter in school right now, I assume?
She's not yet, no.
She's not in school yet. Okay. And well, I guess that'll be a whole nother beast when she starts school, right? And some sort of allergy plan. And I've obviously, we've noticed that as well, where schools are becoming more aware, restaurants are becoming more aware. It's more mainstream, foods or entrees on a menu have allergies listed. I actually had a conversation with a travel agent a few weeks ago, and she said that Disney, for example, is fantastic with allergies because they provide you totally different allergen-safe menus, and potentially the chef would come out and make a custom meal for you to accommodate that. So I think that's something really neat. And I've also heard that Canada might be a tad more aware of nut allergies in the States. I don't know how much or if at all you've come down to the States. Have you, before I keep going, have you been to the States a couple times? Yeah, I assume so. May I ask where you've been in the States?
I've been West Coast. I've been down Texas, Louisiana area, New York, kind of all corners.
Okay, so yeah, you've checked off the major boxes. So
yeah.
Have you noticed a significant difference at all in how the states handle allergies in Canada, or do you feel like it's kind of the same?
I find the labeling on products is a lot different. In Canada, they have to label the top 8, I think, if it contains. Where in the States, I think the labeling laws are a little different. Yeah. So I don't necessarily feel as comfortable sometimes having stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Now, have you ever gotten sort of any treatment for your allergy or your daughter's allergy, like allergy shots or maybe like a challenge or something like that?
I haven't personally. They did talk about it with my daughter, but at the time I felt she was too young to be able to tell me if she was feeling any symptoms or that type of thing. So it might be something in the future we look at, but for now, avoidance seems to be our best.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's very satisfying as a parent to watch your child become more aware and precautious and develop that sixth sense. So, maybe you consider the challenge, maybe not. I've heard it can be quite the ordeal. So, maybe one day you'll decide yes, but maybe your daughter will just become so used to it that it'll become second nature. Who knows? Now, what do you have other people in your life with nut allergies? Obviously, it's you and your daughter, but anyone else around you that have nut allergies?
I know a few people, but not super close in our life.
Okay. So no one to collaborate with, perhaps? No?
Not really, no.
Yeah. What would you do if you were invited to someone's house, for example, for dinner? What would be your steps in making sure that it's a safe meal for you and your daughter?
I'd probably talk to them ahead of time about what they were planning to serve, and I would probably offer to bring a dish or two as well that I knew is safe for me.
Yeah.
Probably have to.
And I assume too that your friends, those who invite you over, probably have some idea, right, of your allergy. But you would go over, and just as long as you talk to the person who made the meal, you wouldn't have an issue with it.
I would probably be a little nervous in the back of my mind, because how can you not be?
Yes.
But yeah, as long as you feel they have a good grasp on cross-contamination and that type of thing, then I think it's okay.
Yes. And that's, it's tough too, especially when people are making something for you that just don't have a nut allergy. You hear stories of people making cookies, for example, and they say, hey, I made here's a batch of peanut butter cookies, but here's a chocolate chip cookie batch for you. And it's like, well, did you make them on the same pan? Oh yeah. Well, I can't eat it. I'm sorry. And it's like, you want to be nice, but you can't quite do that, right?
Exactly.
I'm sure you've had your fair share of experiences like that, but have you had any negative experiences with people maybe being overtly rude or unaccommodating for either you or your daughter with your nut allergy?
I don't think of any specific experiences like that. I think for the most part, people want to make you feel comfortable if they're your friend or whatnot, family.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it's been pretty good.
And even outside of your friends and family bubble, it's been okay?
For the most part, I think so.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything specific that stands out.
Besides the Australian chef, right? Who didn't read the order, right?
Yeah.
But that's good. And I think that's a testament to the awareness that's been increasing the last 10 years or so, where people aren't so confused by an allergy request. I also recently learned, I didn't even know this, maybe you did, that you can pre-board a flight if you have a peanut allergy, tree nut allergy. Do you do that by chance? Because I've heard about that. I have never done that, but have you?
I haven't either. I've heard about it as well too.
Yeah.
But it might be something.
Yeah, I mean, heck, if it's a full flight, maybe you go in there, wipe the seat down, and you got a good seat, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that any sort of life hacks or piece of advice that you'd give to people who maybe are starting out with a nut allergy? Like, say, someone's daughter just got diagnosed with a nut allergy, maybe similar to you. Any piece of advice or something that they should look out for that you would tell them?
I think just be aware of where you're going. If you're going out to restaurants or stuff like that, avoid maybe places like bakeries and ice cream shops that there's likely chance that is not going to be safe for you. And I think just read labels. Get in the habit of reading everything you eat. It doesn't go in your mouth if you haven't read it.
Yes.
Kind of my rule.
100%. And you mentioned ice cream shops and bakeries. Any other maybe common place that you would like to maybe try, but maybe hesitate because you just never know about their food practices like that?
Yeah, those are probably the main ones. Any Oriental restaurants or that type of thing always look really good to me too, but then I always worry. Yeah. So I just avoid them too. So maybe something like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think of Thai food especially. Where they just put peanuts in everything, right?
So everywhere.
Like, it's just a no-go. Like, then that looks good, but I gotta pass. How do you approach, say you meet someone new and you have to explain your nut allergy to them or your daughter's nut allergy to them? How do you approach that conversation?
I probably try and put it off as long as I can.
Interesting.
Until I have to. If once food's involved, then obviously you have to go there. I oddly feel a lot more comfortable telling about my daughter's allergy than mine, because with myself, I always feel like I'm putting someone out or something like that. But with her, you kind of go mama bear and want to protect her no matter what.
Yes. Like you're her agent, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah.
And do you feel interesting that you put it off as long as possible? Is there a conscious reason, or just like there's no point to bring it up until I have to bring it up?
I think more so that.
Yeah. And I get that too. If I meet someone out and about, like, hey, tell me about yourself. I have a nut allergy, right? Is that really the first thing I'm going to tell someone? Maybe not, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And when the circumstances allow for it, then I will bring it up. But I get it. So be aware, read labels. Anything else that maybe you would recommend? What about, say, food recommendations? Any go-to foods that you would recommend for someone, maybe a young child with nut allergies?
Go-to foods. There's a few really good brands that are all top 8 safe for allergies, which are really great. Like fruit bars, that type of thing. Stuff, any finds like that are really great.
Yeah. Is your daughter super active? I assume she is. Is she?
She is, yeah.
Yeah. And I assume that active level of activity is only going to go up when she gets older. So she's going to be in demand for more protein, more calories, stuff like that. So I'm sure you'll probably find more foods as well. Hopefully mine, not to be selfish, but hopefully mine in the future. You'll be snacking on some My Protein bars. But Yeah, it's just how do you get the protein and the calories and the energy to someone who is just so sensitive to nuts and who can't even consider eating something with a may contain label, right?
Exactly.
So is there anything that you wish more people understood about these allergies in general?
Just how severe they can be. Something so minor can end someone's life, essentially.
Yeah.
I think basically that and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a maybe a bit of a graphic visual, but it's like little pieces of poison all around the world that
Literally.
people can eat, but we can't. And so
Yep.
we have to be very vigilant in avoiding the poison. So 100%. Well, Jackie, I really appreciate the conversation we've had. Is there anything else that maybe that you would like to tell me, or anything maybe you ask me, or anything else before I wish you a rest of a great day?
Well, I think I'm just really hopeful that your bar is going to come to fruition, and I'm really looking forward to trying it.
Yes. Hopefully soon. I'm aiming for late 2025, but I guess business is not the easiest thing in the world, and everything is dragging more than I would have hoped. But we're getting there. We're getting there. And I'm going to ask you a selfish question. I'm going to ask you a question from the business side, if you don't mind.
Sure.
If that's okay. So I'm starting with a protein bar. Is there a product that maybe you would like to see next that maybe your daughter or you have a lot but struggle to find a safe brand? Is there any product that maybe I should be eyeing for number 2?
I would love just a protein powder as well, something like that doesn't contain the stevia and that is nut and peanut free.
Yeah.
That's
okay. Yeah. I love that.
That's
I love that for sure. And I've heard someone actually commented the other day that they're looking for like a safe cereal, or a safe ice cream. Now, I think Canada has a brand. What is it? It starts with a C.
Chapman's.
Chapman's, yes. I have heard of Chapman's, and they are nut-free. I assume you have Chapman's.
Oh, yes.
But they're not really available in the States. So I think that might be one to consider. But I love the protein powder idea for sure. Well, I'll write that down. I'll write that down. If you have any other ideas, you let me know. But Jackie, you are a rock star. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully one day you and your daughter will be customers of my product. But if anyone has any questions for Jackie, you can obviously post them in the comments and we will relay the question to Jackie. But Jackie, again, you are great, and we will be in touch soon.
Thanks so much.